Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Picture this. It's spring break, and you're totally broke. You just got married, and while all your buddies are cruising off to Vegas, you're stuck at home. Your wife is working her tail off to support your dream of being a college wrestler. You've been trying to make a few bucks selling stuff online, but honestly, nothing's working. You're feeling pretty desperate and more than a little lost. Then one lazy afternoon, your friend drops by and says, "Dude, we should build a potato gun." You've heard of them, but never actually seen one in action. He explains the whole setup. Glue some PVC pipes together, stuff a potato down the barrel, spray in some hairspray, add a spark, and boom, you're launching potatoes a few hundred yards. Suddenly, spring break doesn't sound so boring anymore. Over the next few days, you don't just build one, you become obsessed. You dive deep into the physics, the perfect barrel-to-chamber ratio, which propellants work best, all the safety stuff. By week's end, you and your buddy know more about potato guns than 95% of the planet ever will. You've accidentally become an expert. When classes resume, you're sitting in finance lecture, barely paying attention, when a thought hits you. I wonder if anyone else was Googling potato gun instructions last weekend. A quick search reveals something wild. Over 18,000 people that month had searched for potato gun plans, and nobody, absolutely nobody, was selling anything. Tons of free info scattered around, but no one actually guiding people through the process. That moment changed Russell Brunson's life. He realized something profound. You don't need a doctorate or fancy credentials to help those 18,000 people. You just need to know slightly more than they do. He and his friend filmed a simple how-to video, burned it onto DVDs, and started selling them online. Just like that, they were pulling in $20 to $30 a day. For a couple of broke college kids, it was absolutely life-changing. This almost ridiculous story unlocks one of the most powerful ideas in the modern world. It's the beating heart of Russell Brunson's book, Expert Secrets. What if I told you that right now, inside you, there's specialized knowledge, a talent, a passion, that could not only transform someone else's life, but also become the foundation for a career you absolutely love? What if being an expert isn't about being the world's foremost authority, but simply about being one chapter ahead of the people you're meant to help? Today, we're diving into the roadmap that shows you how to discover that message, build a tribe of people who will happily pay for your guidance, and turn your knowledge into your legacy. So where does this journey actually begin? It starts with a simple but profound realization. You've got something special inside you. A skill, a passion, a life experience. Could be anything. Playing piano by ear, navigating a brutal breakup, training a stubborn puppy, or yes, even building potato guns. We constantly dismiss these things because they come naturally to us. We think, oh, anyone could do that. But what feels effortless to you can feel like an absolute superpower to someone else. Brunson argues we all move through two life phases. First comes growth, where we're learning, studying, experimenting, becoming who we are. Eventually, though, we hit a plateau. We can't grow further just by consuming more information. The only way to keep growing is entering the second phase. Contribution. Real fulfillment doesn't come from what you get. It comes from what you give. This is where the expert business is born. It's not just about selling information. It's about leading people through a transformation. But here's what stops most people cold. Being an expert isn't enough. The world is packed with brilliant, knowledgeable people who are completely broke. Why? Because they know their subject inside and out, but they have no idea how to get anyone to actually listen. To truly make an impact, you can't just have a message. You need to build a movement. According to Brunson, every mass movement in history, from political revolutions to global brands, is built on three foundational pillars. Master these three things, and you can create a tribe of devoted fans who will follow you, trust you, and eagerly invest in your guidance. The first pillar is the charismatic leader. Don't let that word charismatic freak you out. This isn't about being a natural extrovert or dazzling public speaker. Here, a charismatic leader is simply someone who's traveled a path and is willing to guide others along it. They're an attractive character, not because of their looks, but because they're relatable. Think about it. We don't follow perfect people. We follow real people, people with flaws, backstories, struggles we recognize in ourselves. Nobody cares about Superman until you introduce kryptonite. His vulnerability makes him interesting. Similarly, you don't attract followers by pretending you have all the answers. You attract them by sharing your journey, the messy parts, the failures, the breakthrough moments. Your backstory is your superpower. When you're helping someone, they're not just looking at where you are now. They're looking for proof that you once stood exactly where they're standing. That gap between their current struggle and your achieved result inspires them to believe change is actually possible for them too. So how do you become this leader? Start by finding your niche. Brunson breaks down almost every market into 3 core desires: health, wealth, or relationships. Your expertise likely falls into one of these. But you can't stop there. He's famous for saying, the riches are in the niches. You need to drill down. It's not just weight loss, it's weight loss for new moms over 40. It's not just real estate, it's flipping houses on eBay. This is creating your own blue ocean. Most people dive into a, quote, red ocean, a market already bloody with competition, where everyone's fighting over the same customers. A blue ocean is a fresh category, a new opportunity you create yourself. When you do this, you're not competing anymore. You're the only choice. The second pillar of any mass movement is the cause. A leader needs a destination, a flag planted on a distant hill that everyone can march toward. This is your future-based cause. People are silently begging to be led, to be part of something bigger than themselves. Your job is painting a vision of the future they desperately want to join. Think about the most successful political campaigns. Winners almost always sell a compelling vision of the future. Make America great again. Change we need. They give people hope. As Brunson quotes, rebellions are built on hope. For his own company, ClickFunnels, he struggled to nail the right slogan. He tried, "You're just one funnel away from being rich," but it felt off. His users weren't just trying to get rich. They were trying to change the world with their message. After dozens of attempts, he landed on something simple yet profound. You're just one funnel away. Away from what? He left it wide open. For one person, it meant one funnel away from quitting their soul-crushing job. For another, one funnel away from paying off their parents' mortgage. For another, one funnel away from finally getting their message heard. It became a rallying cry for the entire community. It gave them a shared identity. That's another key to building a cause. You've got to give your followers an identity. When people joined his movement, they didn't just use his software. They started calling themselves funnel hackers. They wore it on t-shirts. It became part of their identity. I am a funnel hacker. I am a lady boss. I build funnels. When your followers can proudly declare who they are within your tribe, they've made an identity shift. They're no longer just customers. They're part of the movement. This brings us to the third and arguably most crucial pillar, the new opportunity. This is the vehicle that'll carry your followers to the future you've promised. And here, Brunson makes a critical distinction that changes everything. People don't want improvement. They want a new opportunity. Think about it. If you offer someone an improvement offer, like a better diet, a faster workout, a more efficient way to do what they're already doing, what are you subtly telling them? You're saying what they've been doing was wrong. You're forcing them to admit failure. And nobody wants that. Admitting failure feels like a status decrease, and our brains are hardwired to avoid that at all costs. Every decision we make, from the car we drive to who we marry, is subconsciously filtered through one question: will this increase my status or decrease it? An improvement offer is tough to sell because it's built on a foundation of past pain and failure. But a new opportunity? That's different. It's a clean slate. A completely fresh vehicle. When you present a new opportunity, you're not fixing their broken-down car. You're handing them keys to a brand new one. This lets you do something magical. You get to justify their past failures. It's not their fault they didn't lose weight on their old diet. That diet was designed to fail. It's not their fault their business didn't take off with a traditional website. Websites are an outdated model. The new opportunity, your fresh vehicle, is the real key. This single shift in thinking separates struggling to sell from having people line up to buy. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPod, he didn't sell it as an improved MP3 player. He sold it as a new opportunity. 1,000 songs in your pocket. He replaced the old vehicle entirely. So your product, your course, your coaching, it can't just be a better version of what already exists. It has to be a new way of thinking, a fresh framework, a completely new vehicle for change. Once you've got these three pillars in place, the charismatic leader, the cause, and the new opportunity, you've built the foundation for a mass movement. But how do you get people to actually believe in it? How do you get them to leave their comfortable old way of thinking and take a leap of faith into your new opportunity? This is where we shift from movement structure to the psychology of belief. Brunson says everything in sales and marketing boils down to one thing: belief. If you can get someone to truly believe in one core idea, everything else falls into place. He calls this the big domino. Imagine a long line of dominoes. You could spend all day trying to knock over each one individually, every little objection, every question, every concern. Or you could find the one big domino at the front. Knock that one over, and all the others fall automatically. For every offer, there's one core belief, one big domino, that, if your audience accepts as true, makes the sale inevitable. The statement looks like this: if I can make people believe that my new opportunity is the key to what they desire most and is only attainable through my specific vehicle, then all other objections become irrelevant and they have to give me money. For ClickFunnels, his big domino was, if I can make people believe that funnels are the key to online business success and that the only way to build them is through ClickFunnels, then they have to buy. His entire sales message is designed to do one thing only: knock down that single domino. So how do you actually do that? You can't just tell them it's true. Logic and facts don't create belief. People buy based on emotion, then use logic to justify their decision. The only way to create that emotional buy-in is through story. This leads us to the heart of the book, the Epiphany Bridge. An Epiphany Bridge is a story that takes your listener on the same emotional journey you traveled when you first discovered your new opportunity. You had an aha moment, an epiphany that got you so fired up you couldn't sleep. Your job isn't teaching your audience what you know. Your job is giving them that same epiphany. If you just start spewing facts, figures, and what Brunson calls technobabble, you'll bore them to tears. You'll sound like every other salesperson. But if you tell them a story, your origin story, you can lead them to discover the answer themselves. When they have the epiphany on their own, the buying decision becomes their idea, not yours. At that point, you don't have to sell them anything. They've already sold themselves. So what makes a good story? Brunson breaks it down into a simple formula, borrowing from every great Hollywood movie structure. He calls it the hero's two journeys. Every great story has a character who wants something, a desire, and faces obstacles getting it, conflict, but that's only the surface. That's the first journey, the journey of achievement. It's the external goal: win the race, get the girl, save the kingdom. Underneath that, there's a second, more important journey happening, the journey of transformation. This is the internal journey, who the hero becomes along the way. Lightning McQueen in the movie Cars starts out wanting to win the Piston Cup. That's his journey of achievement. But by the end, he gives up the cup to help a fellow racer. He's been transformed. That's his journey of transformation. This second journey is what makes a story resonate. It creates the emotional connection. When you tell your Epiphany Bridge story, you're not just talking about achieving a result. You're talking about the internal struggle, the wall you hit, the moment of despair, and the epiphany that changed you. Brunson provides a simple, 8-step script to structure any story. 1. The backstory. Where were you? What was your life like? Make it relatable to your audience. 2. Your desires. What did you want? Talk about both the external goal, like making more money, and the internal goal, like feeling like a good provider for your family. 3. The wall. What problem did you hit that your old way couldn't solve? 4. The epiphany. What was the breakthrough moment that revealed the new opportunity? 5. The plan. What was the new strategy you created based on your epiphany? 6. The conflict. What obstacles did you face executing the plan? 7. The achievement. What was the end result? 8. The transformation. Who did you become in the process? When you tell a story using this structure, you're not just sharing information. You're building a bridge that lets your listener walk from their current skeptical state to a new state of belief. Now, with this understanding of stories and belief, we can finally look at the engine powering the entire expert business, a perfectly crafted sales presentation. Brunson calls it the perfect webinar. Don't let the name fool you. This isn't just for webinars. It's a universal script for selling anything, from a stage, in a video, or even through email sequences. Its goal is simple: knock down the big domino. The presentation has 3 main parts. First, the introduction. This is where you build rapport and introduce your big domino. You tell your origin story, your main epiphany bridge, as your first attempt to knock it over. Second, the content, which Brunson calls the 3 secrets. This is where most people mess up completely. They start teaching. They give away all their best stuff, thinking it'll impress people into buying. But Brunson argues that teaching your best content actually hurts sales. It gives people information indigestion. They feel like they've learned a ton, but they don't feel any urgency to take the next step. Instead, the content section's goal is systematically identifying and breaking the 3 core false beliefs holding your big domino up. What are those 3 false beliefs? 1. False beliefs about the vehicle. They might believe in your new opportunities idea, but they have misconceptions about it. Sure, funnels are cool, but they won't work for my type of business. 2. False beliefs about themselves. Internal. They might believe the vehicle works, but they don't believe they can do it. Okay, funnels work, but I'm not tech savvy. I could never build one. 3. False beliefs about outside forces. External. They might believe in the vehicle and themselves, but they believe some external force will stop them. Even if I could build a funnel, I don't know how to drive traffic to it. For each of these 3 secrets, you don't teach a how-to lesson. Instead, you tell another epiphany bridge story that shatters their false belief and replaces it with a new, empowering one. You're systematically removing every reason they have for not believing in your big domino. Once you've broken these 3 beliefs, you transition to the final presentation part, the close, built around something called the stack. The stack is how you present your offer. Most people mess this up by listing their product, then a few bonuses. The problem? People only remember the last thing you said. So if your last bonus isn't worth the full price, they won't buy. Instead, you stack the value. You introduce the first part of your offer and put it on a slide with its value. Then you introduce the second part, go back to the slide, and add it, showing the total value climbing. You do this for every single piece of your offer. By the end, they see a massive stack of value, with a total typically 10 times more than the price you're about to reveal. When you finally show the price, it seems incredibly tiny compared to the massive value you've just stacked up. This simple visual trick dramatically boosts conversions. Throughout this process, you use dozens of trial closes, small questions like, "Does that make sense?" or "Isn't that cool?" to get your audience nodding yes over and over. So when you ask for the final yes with their credit card, it's just a natural continuation. This entire system, from finding your message, to building a movement, to creating belief with stories, to delivering the perfect webinar, is a repeatable, scalable model. You deliver the same presentation every single week. Not a new one, the same one. You perfect it. You tweak it based on the questions people ask, and you turn it into a machine that consistently brings new people into your world. And how do you find those new people? This brings us to the final puzzle piece: fill your funnel. Brunson shares a strategy he learned from a mentor named Chet Holmes called the Dream 100. The idea is beautifully simple. Traffic isn't something you create. It's something you find. Your dream customers are already out there, congregating in specific places. They're reading certain blogs, listening to certain podcasts, following certain influencers on social media. Your job is identifying the 100 people who already have your dream customers. Attention, this is your Dream 100 list. Once you have this list, your entire marketing plan becomes about one thing: building relationships with those 100 people. You dig your well before you're thirsty. You serve them, promote them, help them achieve their goals. Then, when the timing's right, you have 3 ways to get in front of their audience. First, you can work with them. Ask them to promote your webinar to their list as an affiliate. This is the fastest way to flood your business with new customers. Second, you can work through them. Use advertising platforms on Facebook, Google, or other social networks to specifically target your Dream 100's followers. You can literally pay to put your message directly in front of Tony Robbins' fans or Marie Forleo's followers. Third, you can integrate into their world. Find ways to put your offer inside their existing sales process. Can you place an ad on their thank you page? Can you be a bonus in their product? This strategy ensures you never worry about traffic again. You're not shouting into the void. You're tapping into streams of your dream customers that are already flowing. And that's the essence of Expert Secrets. It's a journey starting with a simple passion, a quiet expertise you might not even recognize in yourself. It's about realizing you have a message to share and a moral obligation to serve the people who need to hear it. It's about building a movement, not just a business. It's about mastering storytelling to create belief. And it's about having a proven, repeatable system to bring your message to the world, one funnel at a time. As we step back and look at Expert Secrets' ideas, what really stands out is the profound perspective shift it offers. Most of us are taught to think about business in terms of products, features, and benefits. We build something, then try convincing people why it's good. Brunson flips that entire model completely on its head. He says, don't start with the product, start with the person. Who are you trying to serve? What journey are they on? What do they truly believe? The entire framework is built on deep empathy. It's about understanding someone's internal struggles, their fears, and their dreams so profoundly that you can guide them toward transformation. The sale is simply a byproduct of that journey. The most powerful lesson for me is the Epiphany Bridge concept. The idea that your job isn't teaching, but leading someone to their own discovery through story. This is a timeless principle of influence that goes way beyond marketing. It's how great leaders, teachers, and parents inspire change. They don't hand you the answer. They tell you a story that helps you find it yourself. Master this skill, and you're not just selling, you're leading. And finally, there's the beautiful idea of contribution. The book begins and ends with the notion that true fulfillment isn't found in personal growth alone, but in using that growth to lift others up. It frames building an expert business not as a selfish wealth pursuit, but as a moral obligation. If you have a gift that can change someone's life, a message that can save a marriage, grow a business, or improve someone's health, what a tragedy it would be keeping that gift to yourself. So how can you start applying these ideas today? Here are a few simple steps. First, ask yourself, what's my superpower? What skill or topic do I love so much I could talk about it for hours? What problem have I solved in my own life that others might be struggling with? Don't dismiss it just because it seems simple to you. Second, think about who you want to serve. Who were you just a few years ago? Those are the people who need you most, because you've already walked the path they're on. And third, what's your Epiphany Bridge story? Think back to the moment you first fell in love with this topic. What was the breakthrough moment that set you on this journey? Practice telling that story. Not the facts, but the feelings. The struggle, the wall, and the breakthrough. That story is the key unlocking everything else. That was a deep dive into the core principles of Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. We've covered the map today, from finding your message to building your movement. But I'll be honest, a summary can only show you the destination. The real magic happens when you travel the road yourself. It's in the quiet moments, when a particular story or simple phrase connects with you in unexpected ways. This summary is designed to help you decide if this journey is for you. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a fire in you, grab a copy of the book. Reading it isn't just about learning a new strategy. It's an experience that can genuinely change how you see your own potential and the impact you're meant to have on the world. You'll find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It tells us we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep growing and contributing together.